Thank you very much for coming to this quiet little evening for ESPN's Cricinfo's third annual Cricket Awards. ESPN Cricinfo is, of course, now the #1 cricket portal. It's always been for a long time. And therefore, any awards that a portal like Cricinfo sets up are bound to be special. They're special for many reasons that Sambit is going to explain to you in just a moment. But more than anything else, because there's a very respected global jury that votes on it. And the fact that individual performances get noticed rather than just a player of the year. For example, you could have a Charles Coventry in your shortlist whom would probably never get into any other shortlist at all. So if a player has a great individual performance, he gets an opportunity to be here. So we celebrate great performances today. But to tell you a little more, the man who's really revolutionized Cricinfo has seen it grow from a little baby to the giant it is in the cricket world. Remember when the IPL auctions were on, all the players were following their prices on Cricinfo as well. So Sambit Bal, editor of Cricinfo, will tell you a little bit about the awards.
Thanks, Harsha. Thanks, Viru, for coming here. Thanks, Sanjay. Both Harsha and Sanjay are jury, so they are part of this process. Cricket is a team game, but within a team game, it's always been an individual sport. And when we were thinking about Cricinfo Awards 3 or 4 years ago, and of course we wanted to be different, like you might have seen the Maggie ketchup ad, which is, the tagline was "It's different." But jokes apart, we wanted to recognize something that was, when we look back at a year, our best memories are of individual performances. Of course, there are great tests, there are great matches that we think we remember, but it finally boils down to between the batsman and the bowler. And it's a nice way to look back at the year, look back at the best memories of the year. And in a sense, it's also Cricinfo owes its existence to cricketers, and it's our small way of saying thank you. And it's the third year. We have grown every year. We have grown a little. Hopefully, next year we'll have a much bigger function with perhaps a few more cricketers here. But I'll now hand over to Harsha to do the honors.
Some of you have been following it on the website would realize we had awards in 6 categories this year, for performances in 6 categories, batting and bowling in each of the 3 forms of the game that, for all the debate around them, are actually coexisting quite wonderfully. Isn't it amazing that for all the talk of Test cricket being in danger, Test cricket is emerging as the strongest form of the game with some fantastic results. So Cricinfo decided to honor players from each of the 3 categories. So I'll announce the short list of the winners and thereafter tell you who the winner in each category is. We'll start with T20, the youngest comes first. We'll start with the bowling. And it was interesting that there was one, out of the short list of just 3 performances, there was one bowler who featured twice. And he came up with some fantastic performances through the year. Umar Gul produced 5 for 6 for New Zealand against New Zealand in the World T20 at the Oval. And then 4 for 8 against Australia at Dubai. And there was another excellent spell from Ajanta Mendes, who took 3 for 20 versus Australia in the World T20 at Nottingham, picked up the top 3 Australian batsmen. But the jury voted, 14-member jury, and the winner was Umar Gul of Pakistan, 5 for 6 versus New Zealand in the World T20 at the Oval. So Umar Gul picks up Cricinfo's first award for the best bowling performance of the year in T20 cricket. Moving on to the batting. And it was really, really close, this particular award. Maybe with Sambit's permission, I'll tell you how close it got eventually. But we had 3 nominations again. Chris Gayle hit 88 versus Australia at the Oval. If some of you watched the discussion program on Cricinfo, you'll have seen Ian Chappell go completely gaga over one particular 6. Tilakratne Dilshan, Virendra Sehwag's soon-to-be teammate, till recently rival but soon-to-be teammate, scored 96 not out versus the West Indies in the semi-final of the World T20. And Shahid Afridi, who must feature in almost every shortlist, got 51 against South Africa in that semi-final at Nottingham that some of us were privileged to watch. It came down to just 1 vote apparently in the end. And that 1 vote separated Tilakratne Dilshan from Chris Gayle. And the eventual winner was Chris Gayle, with his 88 against Australia in the World T20 at the Oval, a track where the ball was really coming on to the bat and Chris Gayle enjoyed himself enormously. Moving on to the one-day international, we had 5 performances shortlisted here. Shahid Afridi took 6 for 38. I don't know if some of you saw the performance on television at least. 6 for 38 versus Australia in Dubai. Andrew Flintoff took 5 for 19 versus the West Indies. Doug Bollinger came across to Guwahati and took 5 for 35 against India. Kyle Mills took 4 for 35 versus Australia in the first one-day international at Perth. And Harbhajan Singh, who's feeling absolutely on top of the world at the moment, took 5 for 56 versus Sri Lanka in the Compact Cup final in Colombo. And I think the voting was skewed pretty strongly towards one performance. And the winner of the Cricinfo award for the best bowling performance in one-day international cricket is Shahid Afridi with his 6 for 38 against Australia at the Oval. Then the one-day international batting award, and again that was very close. The 5 nominees were Sachin Tendulkar, 175 versus Australia in the 5th one-day international at Hyderabad, an amazing innings, actually some fantastic innings this year. Shane Watson made 105 not out in the final of the Champions Trophy in South Africa at Centurion. Then Dilshan scored 160, was scoring runs in every form of the game versus India at Rajkot in the first one-day international. Those are some lovely surfaces to bat on. Graeme Smith against England when nobody else was even putting bat to ball effectively for South Africa, made 141 versus England at Centurion. And against India in the Champions Trophy. It's interesting to see how many performances are coming out of the Champions Trophy, and just reminds you that good tracks produce good cricket. Shoaib Malik made 128, but the winner for an astonishing performance, even if it was in a losing cause, and there were quite a few in a losing cause there, the best batting performance in a one-day international, as voted by a global jury of 14 on Cricinfo, was Sachin Tendulkar's 175 versus Australia in that 5th one-day international when India were chasing 350. Which brings us to the Test match awards. 5 outstanding bowling performances. Stuart Broad took 5 for 37 against Australia in the 5th Test at the Oval. In the 2nd Test at Lord's, Andrew Flintoff took 5 for 92. Mitchell Johnson bowled a terrifyingly quick spell, 4 for 25 versus South Africa at Johannesburg. And then at Durban, the Englishman Graham Swan took 5 for 44 versus South Africa. Also against England, Jerome Taylor, 5 for 11 in the 1st Test at Jamaica. And just for the sheer brilliance of that spell, the sheer spectacle of that spell, to see wickets flying, just 72 runs was the first innings lead, and yet West Indies won by an innings. The best Test match performance, as voted by Cricinfo's jury in a Test match therefore, was Jerome Taylor's 5 for 11 at Jamaica. And that brings us to the best kept secret of all, which is the batting award. So I might as well tell you what the shortlist was. Chris Gayle made 165 not out. It was an uncharacteristic innings. There's a great setup for it. People thought he was not interested in Test match cricket, and he batted beautifully in the 2nd Test at Adelaide to make 165 not out. Carried his bat as well. Andrew Strauss, 161 in the 2nd Test match at Lord's after Australia had survived by the skin of their teeth in the first Ashes Test match. Jonathan Trott on debut, a crucial century, 119 in the 5th Test match at the Oval. Umar Akmal on debut promised a great deal and might still produce a great deal for Pakistan, 129 in that Test match at Dunedin. But the winner, Cricinfo's winner for the 2nd year running, and I'm going to ask Sanjay Manjrekar to present the award. Virender Sehwag's astonishing 293 versus Sri Lanka in the 3rd Test match at Mumbai. Some people wondered whether we'd see an innings like that for many, many years to come. So Virender Sehwag is Cricinfo's winner for the best Test match batting performance of the year. Sanjay Manjrekar missed playing with Virender Sehwag by just 3 years, so we thought we'll make up for this.